right, so welcome to Trenton 3D Quick Byte interview with Jim McMahon in collaboration with Isles Inc. Project funded by Neighborhood Revitalization Credit and the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. Today I have with me Jim McMahon, a legend in the 3D printing world.
You want to know everything, huh?
Oh yeah.
So this is when I first got involved with inkjets. So then the next thing is you say, where did I go from there? I worked at Exxon for 4 years till 1984. I left there and I went to a small company called Howtech. And Howtech is a, let me see if I have my book here. I went to work for this guy. His name is Robert Howard, connecting the dots. He wanted to start a printing company. So we came up to New Hampshire, interviewed, went back to our hometown. Within 3 days, we sold our house. All of our friends and stuff said, where the hell did you go? We just all left. So we actually took a job at this company. And my job was to design the inkjets, and my wife's job was to build them. So we were partners in this thing. So that's how we got into the business. And that was at a company called Howtech.
Howtech, okay.
So Howtech then designed its own inkjet and its own materials. And it turned out it was thermoplastic. It was actually plastic material.
Okay.
This is in 1984, 85. Oh, I just sent you a picture, as a matter of fact.
Oh yeah, you want me to pull it up?
Yeah, that shows a brochure that was from 1984, I believe, showing the materials that they had come up with. And you should recognize them if you know something about SolidScape.
All right, so here,
anyways,
I got it here. Just say, I'm going to share the screen 1 second.
Okay.
Boom, share screen. And do you see it?
Yep. Oh, wait, that's a different one. Did you? I just sent you one just a minute ago.
Oh yeah, the other one. All right, so hold on.
Now BPM is another inkjet company. That's after Howtech closed. Two vice presidents went off in different directions, and they both started 3D printing companies.
You're talking about this photo, this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, Howtech. There you go.
Okay, so check those inks out. So.
Oh yeah, look at that blue and the. Oh, I recognize that material.
Yeah, you check that out, huh?
Oh so yeah.
Anyway, so when now if you, it's hard to read it, but right underneath the name Howtech on that piece of paper, way down the lower right-hand corner, just above the magenta ink,
okay,
there's actually a date on that thing, and I think it's 1984.
Let's see if we can zoom in. Boom.
Oh wait, no wait. Let's see, where is it? No, go back onto the picture. Copyright. Oh, there it is. No, there it is. Copyright 19. Okay.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
right
trademark here. 1985. Yeah. So okay. So it's around 85 or something like that.
So this is the same material basically that's being used in the SolidScape printers today.
Yeah, well, at Howtech, okay, you can take that picture down. We came up with this thing. Now you're going to love this. This is a printer. See those little things right there?
Right.
Those are actually the same jets that are in your in a SolidScape printer.
Wow.
And you can't even get one of them working. There are 32 of them on this wheel. A piece of paper would glide up in front of this thing, and it would print text and images or anything with that ink, full color. There was a full color printer in 1985, right? The those crayons that you saw, they actually drop right in these holes. So
okay.
A magenta one, a yellow one, a cyan, and then black.
Right.
But this thing here had 32 of these jets in it. So I had worked at this company. The business was actually not doing too good because the jets weren't very reliable. Did I say that? But anyways, the jets were only designed to print on a piece of paper for about 4 minutes.
Okay.
That's all, right? 4 minutes is all they wanted. Well, these jets now are in 3D printers, and they print sometimes for 24 hours straight.
24 hours. I had jobs 72 hours.
No, I know. I'm trying to be nice about this. I know a company in California that had it for they ran it for 4 days straight, like 100 hours or something like that, you know?
Right.
So anyway, or maybe not 100 hours, but somewhere up there. But anyway, so when I left the company, now these printers, they made quite a few of them, but they only sold some of them, right? And when I left, they were actually throwing these things in the garbage.
So this is still Howtech, am I
Still
right?
Howtech, yeah. So what I did was I got 15 of these. So 15 times 32, you know how many jets that is?
That's quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a few. I brought with me 15 times 32 inkjets with me to Sanders prototype when they were building their first printer. So I gave them enough inkjets to last at least for a year or two in production.
Right. Yeah,
And
we're talking over 400 jets. Yeah.
yeah, and when they hired me, my job was to try to find more of them. Also, they bought the material, those crayons that you saw.
Right.
The original color of the material was actually green. What they did was they mixed cyan and yellow because they wanted to use as many crayons as they could. They took
Gotcha.
crayons and they made green out of it, and that's how the material started off. It was green material, thermoplastic.
And they melt at different temperatures.
The plastic melts at 120, right? You said you recognized the red one, the cyan one there, but
yeah,
they didn't use that because you needed a material that you could melt away.
That was
And that's wax. That's got a really low melting point. It's down around 55 degrees centigrade.
Ah, okay.
Okay. So anyway, so when I started at the 3D, now the reason I went there is because Howtech was starting to fold, right? And people were just scrambling and leaving. I hung on till 1995. No, I'm sorry, 1990. When the hell did I? 84. Yeah, to 1994, 95. And that's when
isn't that when the first model maker came out?
Yeah, the first, I was there for the first model maker. And that's why when I got there, I showed up and I said, listen, you guys are having trouble. They said, yeah, the jets, listen to this. When they were printing with their jets, the jets only lasted for about 1 day, and then they failed. So I said, let me look at your jets. Here, I'll show you what the jets look like.
Now, who are some of the people that were at Sanders that you worked with over there?
Wait a minute, I'm not done yet. So what they did was they had this thing. This was the inkjet. See the hex nut on top?
Right.
You unscrew that, they had a little barrel filter you set down inside there.
Okay.
You really can't see that too well. Maybe you can. That's a Howtech inkjet nozzle in this thing.
Yeah, I can't. It's blurry. But there you go. Okay.
Yeah. So it's got a hex head on it.
Right.
And the reason for the hex head is because the hole is not dead center in the middle of the plastic there. It's actually offset. And they put a little a wrench on there, and you could turn this thing, and you had to aim. So when you made this printer, all 32 of these jets had to be aimed to get their alignment correctly to get the dots to line up. Do you believe that?
That's incredible.
Physically, I mean, every single one of them. There's 32 of them, so they had to do that. So anyway, okay, go on to your next question. So that's how I got in. That's how I got involved in this whole thing was by joining Howtech, and then I figured out how to make I designed the jet, by the way, and did all the testing on it. I've got all the data upstairs in my museum, all the data for the testing.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the museum that you have.
Okay, so the museum is a collection of. Oh, geez, I wish I could go upstairs.
No, I want to come visit. This is like a preview to that.
Yeah, right. So what's upstairs is, do I have a picture of it? What's upstairs is this thing called the Pixel Master. Let's see, the Pixel Master was the first printer that they made. This thing here, they called this thing a Pixel Master. Okay, and it's a big printer, right? I can't show you the printer because all that got's there.
Right.
Well, after we made that, we then said people said that the quality was not good enough for pictures. You know, if you go to Staples or something, you buy a inkjet printer, you can get like high resolution pictures now because they use a different material and everything. Ours was kind of crude. So they went to try to do high resolution pictures, print, and the high resolution print required a high resolution printer. So I have the high resolution printer upstairs from Howtech, and I have all the documentation for it. And then I have The company at that point was fumbling along. The president of the company, I didn't send a note on this, had quit the company. He applied for a patent, a 3D patent, and that 3D patent has become the top patent in the 3D industry. Stratasys licensed it, Sanders Prototype licensed it, and 3D Systems actually bought it.
So that's going to lead into my next question.
No,
there was a lawsuit, right, between Stratus and Sanders and Stratus.
No, okay. What happened was Sanders started with the 3D printer with the patent from Howtech guy, right? So
and they were the first ones, right? Like that was really the first
ones. And what happened was they were in production for about a year, or let's see, 94, 95, 96. So about, say, 3 years or something. And what happened was they said, people kept complaining, would you stop changing the design? Because they kept making improvements to it.
Okay.
Said, you got to just lock down the thing. So what happened was Sanders said, I'm going to make a sister company. And they called it SolidScape. Okay. And they said, okay, SolidScape, you can build the printer as it was in the early days, right? They gave them all the documentation and the rights to the printer. They actually gave it to SolidScape. SolidScape is building that printer. Sanders kept building other printers. Now I have in my collection the first printer they made. It was really it was called the RTM, a rapid tool maker, and it was a big size model maker, right? Because the model maker was the second one they made. It was a huge thing. It was like 5 feet. The thing was incredibly big. It probably weighed 700 pounds.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because they wanted the table on it was 24 by 18. 24
wow.
inches. I mean, like
wow.
you could build big parts on it, right? So they then went from that, and they said, all right, nobody's buying this thing, because they were selling to jewelers mostly. And they said, let's make a smaller one. They made a smaller, this is Sanders. They made a smaller printer called the 2020. It was like a miniature version of the RTM. Now I have I think 3 of those, and one of the ones I have is the one that was used in the trial. And what happened was SolidScape said, you guys, now that you went to a smaller printer, it's the same as the T66, because that's about what they were doing at that point. They said, you can't do that because it looks like our printer. They went to court, and the judge said, you got to cease and desist. Sanders, you cannot build any more of your machines. And Sanders says, I refuse to stop. So they said, all right, we're fining you. They basically closed the whole Sanders down, and that was the end of Sanders at that point. And SolidScape now was the only company around.
That's ridiculous.
I know it is. The guy that started the company, his name was Royden Sanders. He died with not a penny in his pocket.
Oh, poor guy.
Even when his wife lived longer than he did, when she died, they had to take the house and sell it to pay all the
not to sound crude, but that sounds like he got screwed in this deal.
He sure did. Yeah.
Now, what was his mistake? Was it the contract that he?
No, that he gave the patents. He assigned the patents back, or not assigned the patent, but he.
So who was involved in SolidScape that took advantage of this? Like, who were the first guys to make a deal with this guy Sanders?
You're not gonna like this answer. The guy that was in charge of SolidScape at that point was named David Bothwell. He was the president of SolidScape, but the place he came from before that was Howtech.
Oh.
So you'd be surprised if you walked into SolidScape, you'd look around, you say, like, here I came from Howtech, the president came from Howtech, the vice president, the senior engineer, the designer, the documentation person, the secretary. I mean, like, you walk around the building, it was like SolidScape, it was like Howtech all over the place.
And this is the company you helped found, basically, since you
I founded Howtech, and there was only 12 of us that were the original founders. And so when I left Howtech, we had already cashed in our stock, and basically, we left. Well, it turned out that the technology was something that my wife and I and other people developed, right? And they basically gave the whole thing to Sanders, which was okay. but then Sanders lost the whole thing to SolidScape.
All right, let's save the real details when I come over.
Okay.
We're gonna get into the nitty gritty on this.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think this is very juicy stuff and it's interesting.
Yeah.
But I want to ask a little bit about the technology itself right now. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
I'm a guy where I've been using this tech for a while, and in the beginning, it was definitely needed, to evolve. And I would say more on the software side, more on the way that the artists would use the software to design the models. And pretty much SolidScape already had, at the time I was in it in 2003, the T66, T76 was already pretty good printing quality. It was really the models designers weren't making the designs that they really wanted to. They didn't really understand how to make the models correctly. But the printer itself correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't changed much at all.
No, that's what I keep telling people, because they say, oh, something such and such is broken. I said, well, it's the same as the year before. Just look up the documents on the things and it'll tell you how to fix it.
So the main difference right now, in my eyes, from the T76 to the 3Z Pro is this automatic purging.
Yeah, which is horrible. That's this little pipe on the side of these things.
Yeah, and it just wastes material. And
well, you know, here's a major thing. They used to have. I'll see like on this thing here. There's a flange. Whoops, there it is. There's a flange on this pipe that goes on the heated line.
Yeah.
So the hose actually hangs on tight. When they designed this, it's just a straight pipe. So there was no flange. This little rubber cap never sealed it, and they kept taking off and putting on every time you
listen. I think I had the first version of that machine, at least one of the early serial numbers. Okay.
Yeah.
And when Romanoff guy delivered it and installed it, the first thing that happened was those caps went in and broke the tips right off. The machine broke day one.
Yeah.
And then we had to order jet like day one. And I had to change, I think it was at least a jet, sometimes a jet a day, sometimes a jet every week. It was like getting ridiculous. I was getting really nauseous. And I knew that the older ones, you didn't have to do that. You just have to manually.
Well, that's what I tell people. I say the older machine, like the Model Maker 2, any jet that they make today for all the new machines, it all works on the oldest machine. So you say, do they all work the same? Yeah, they certainly do, because they got the same jets on them, right? So
awesome.
The newer machines actually have, there's a memory, there's a chip on here that memorizes the serial number, the number of hours it's running, and it tells what machine it belongs on.
It also reads the bar scan codes on the material as you're putting it in.
Yeah, well, that's not on the jet. It's actually on the camera. The camera does that.
And I always wondered, because they want to connect to the SolidScape machine, if they're able to read your files. So if you have tops,
you finally picked up on that, huh?
What do you mean? I knew that from day one. So I never.
The minute you get that thing, they say hook it up to your network.
Yeah, I'm like, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, they can see everything you're doing.
Everything, the file. And if I have top secret, because some clients make me sign non-disclosures, and we have secret designs, they know everything. And I'm like, I'm not giving you that access. I don't understand why you need to access the printer in this manner, And then they were like, oh, I used to take the chips and put it back in because I knew it's the same material. Why can't I throw it back in? They're like, you're going to destroy the machine. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Okay, you asked about the software. That's important to know. I just saw a video. Are you on Facebook? Do you have Facebook? It's called SolidScape Unauthorized. Are you on there?
I'm going to friend it next.
Yeah, okay. But a guy was just on there and he said, hey, I just got my new machine. They call it a...
SC or something?
No.
I think I saw this post.
360 or something. It's a brand new one.
Yeah.
And he said, and he took a video of it. He said, this is so cool, right? And it's running. And I wrote on there, I said, every time I see these things, I always question, this goes back to your software. The first machine they ever made ran the same exact way. When it's printing, you can't see me, can you? When you're printing, when you're printing a model, it prints a little bit of this model, then it jumps over and prints the next model, then it drops down. It's like constantly just moving around like that, printing little parts. And I said, those machines have always done that. And that's because when you're printing something, every model has like the support material around the outside. It's got, it's got to print the layers a certain way. When it gets to a point where it wants to have an overhang, it's got to, they call it a close off. It's got to close one layer before it can print the build material on top of whatever on the top of the next one, right? So it has these things called close off layers. It's got boundary layers, and every one of these things are special configurations for the jets to run, right? The jets run at different speeds on each of these lines and a different drop size because it's got to build.
Okay. Wow. I never knew any of that.
Yeah. So when it's moving around, it says, okay, I got 6 models here. I need a little bit of this over here of this same. I'm doing a boundary on this one. Let me go do the boundary on that one. Then it says, okay, I'm done with the boundaries. Let me go on to the next layer. And they go, okay, I only got a little bit of layer on this one, a little bit extra on this one, a little bit on that one, and a little bit on that one, a little bit on that one. Okay, I'm done with that one. Now let me go and do the next one. So it's always bouncing all around the whole table. And you say, Jesus, that's inefficient, right? Because it's like, why doesn't it just go out and just print the one model, the whole thing, right? Just print the whole layer, then jump over to the next one, do everything for
right.
Right. But it doesn't do it that way. And the machine is run that way.
But they did reprogram it to purge the crap out of your material. So every time I heard that noise, that I just hear dollar signs going.
Dollar signs, right?
Money flying out of my tanks. I'm like, why doesn't it purge it back into the tank? Or at least collect the material so I can pour it back in. They purposely make it so that the material mixes and then and it's ruined. So so all of my assumptions is pretty much true on this. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, the thing about the material, I've told them for years, and no one ever listens to me. The jets get clogged, and I think the jets are getting clogged partly because of the material. And the material the trouble with the material is they put dye in it. They made it blue or something, right?
Right.
Dye is actually water soluble. And when I say water soluble, that means that you can't wash it with water because you'll actually get pits in the surface of the thing.
Tell me, can you make your own material?
I don't need to. Well, there are people that do. There's a guy in Florida that makes it. There's a guy in Australia that makes it, and there's a guy in California that makes it.
Yeah, it can't be that complicated mix.
I mean, well, it is and it isn't. The main thing is it's got to be filtered, and it's got to have the right surface tension and viscosity at the temperature. So in other words, if you warm it up to 120, it's got to be as thin as water. If you were to have a bunch of stuff all thrown in there, it'd warm up to 120. If it was too thick, you'd have to turn the voltage up on the jet and it wouldn't work so good.
All right, Jim, I'm gonna end this one for now, just because the audio is I'm worried about it. Okay. And you have a lot of juicy stuff, and I really want to capture it in quality format. So this was like a good introduction, and I think we're gonna really start to go deep dive into the history of the 3D printing. And I want to come check out your museum, and why don't you tell the people how they can follow you and learn more about the history of the 3D printing that you're putting out there?
Okay, I'm working with someone's working on my new website this weekend. As a matter of fact, I've been sending them information and pictures and all that stuff. So I've got 2 websites. One is LGM, Layer Grown Model, right? So it's layergrownmodel.com. But that one there is very boring. Oh, they're both horrible sites. And it's because it basically says I service machines and I'll sell you parts. That's all it says, right? And I have a whole bunch of lists of parts that I had. This is 10 years ago when I wrote this thing. The whole site is ridiculous. The second website I have is called 3D Inkjet Museum. Okay, so 3D Inkjet Museum. And what it's supposed to do is show the history, which is what you want to talk about next time, maybe, or showing the history of how the 3D printing got started. And on that site, I'm going to have all the patents showing the history of this all the way back to 1869 or something like that. All the inventors and all the things that they did, and that got us right up to the point where I'm working at Solidscape and we're making current machines. So the next thing is also about.
Are you on Twitter? Or you said you're on Facebook, right?
Yeah. So I'm on Facebook as my name, James K. McMahon. So it's just my whole name, and also I have a I'm on LinkedIn as James K. McMahon.
All right. And then next year on the 2021 VCF East Festival, the Vintage Computer Festival, we're going to
That's right. Yeah.
We're going to do a nice presentation and
That's
demo of using this. Which one is the model machine that you're setting? Is it the pattern maker or?
No, the one that you want to run?
Well, the early one that you said there was like
The earliest one is called the Model Maker 6 Pro.
And that runs on a 486 DOS machine?
Yeah, and did you ever see that thing? You're going to hate it.
I love hating it.
No, but
well, basically the idea is this. Okay,
it's a lot of manual effort.
Using an Amiga computer. Look, I got this right here. This is an Amiga 4000, right? Running a video toaster.
Yeah.
We're going to design using a Lightwave, which is one of the earliest 3D design packages that was commercially available for these 16-bit computers. And I'm going to make some models, and then what I'd like to do is output it as an OBJ and then bring it into the machine to 3D print the model.
See my model? There's the fluid hole right there. There's the orifice right at the end of it. This is supposed to be a model of a jet. I made it 25, and this is the piezo that squeezes the fluid. I made it 25 times the size, except that it failed. So I just sent an STL file now to another company, and they're going to try to make me one of these. So my goal
even today, the 3D printers are not reliable.
I know they're not. Look what happened. It stopped. It burned the heater out on the head on.
They are such a pain in the ass, but I love them. Yeah. I love them.
So,
all right, Jim.
You ever seen these books?
Huh?
You ever seen this book?
No.
Nah. This one here. This guy here started Howtech. I'm going to send you a copy of this to give you something to read.
Awesome. Thank you.
And this one here tells you how to make any jet you want. It came out in 2003. Here's a Sanders Design Sales and Marketing book. It's got all these.
Oh, really cool.
I mean, like if you saw the stuff in here, you'd probably faint. Here's another old book, Rapid Prototyping. This is going back in the early days, late 1980s.
We're going to have an awesome booth at the festival.
And this guy here's another guy, automated fabrication.
I hope you got to come to the festival. You got to be there.
I'll be there. I think I'll be there.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
It's been a pleasure, and I hope you have a pleasant evening, and good luck with your class, huh?
Thank you very much. And we're going to continue and expand, and I'll invite you as a guest at my class. It'll be a live class with a bunch of students, and that'll be fun.
Good. Yeah, you do Zoom there?
Yeah, same thing. Zoom meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I used to do it in person in Trenton, but COVID-19.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. Trenton 3D signing off with Jim McMahon, and we will continue the conversation in a future date.
See you later.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.